Hi, Homeworthy. I'm Michelle. Welcome to my apartment in New York City. Come on in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi, Homeworthy. I'm Michelle Pham. I'm the founder of the design and textile studio Inner Child, where we make a lot of handmade goods all around the world for artisans. And we're currently in my apartment here in New York City. So, home, I think, is a very interesting concept. For me, my parents got displaced from their home multiple times during their lifetime. There was a Vietnam War, and, as such, they escaped and they came to Canada. And I think most people sometimes take for granted the concept of a home too, and that it's always going to be there and that it's always going to remain the same. And so building a home as, a young woman in my 20s and now 30s, I've always been conscious of that fact and trying to think, hey, how do I want to curate a home now that I have the financial freedom to do so, and I have a lot of choices that I think my parents didn't have. Like, they were crafty and they've made a lot of things, but given their own design aesthetics, I don't know how they would have designed their home if they had more disposable income. This one here, I looked around quite a bit to try to find a place that I felt could work for us for a couple of years. We used to live in a huge loft, and it was very unstructured. Like, it was just an open railroad, huge kind of space without a lot of rooms. And this space here, it had a lot more rooms, and that was kind of what we were looking for, because I knew I wanted to start this business and I would like to have an office at home. I also love gardening, and a New York garden is certainly rare. That was a key part of my growing up experience, was gardening with my parents. We had grapes and figs in our backyard. I think I had a lot of choice when I designed this space, and I was looking for things that would reflect my partner's Indian heritage and my Vietnamese heritage as well, in addition to kind of our interests in general, in like botany, in textiles, he's interested in science. We don't have that much scientific stuff in this house right now. But things that I think were a little bit fun and stimulating for creativity. And everything that we kind of have here, I know where it came from. I know the story and the genesis. It's not just something pretty that we picked. Welcome to the living room where I relax. These are kind of fun. People always ask me, what the heck is this? I went to a friend's home in France many years ago, and his mother had something similar. So this is my interpretation. I took, these are actually cardboard. So I received a furniture delivery. In furniture deliveries of things like tables, they have these large circular cardboard pieces to kind of keep the table in place in the package. I just put some electrical tape on the outside, wrapped them all, and then I put electrical socket plug or something at the bottom to be a stable base. This is my art contribution to my own home. So completely upcycled. And it's kind of a fun thing to look at. Everyone's always like, what is that? And I'm always like, I don't know, it came from my brain. I love Bronte sisters. And so these are some of their earlier editions that I bought from a great bookstore in New York City called Left Bank Books. They do a lot of rare and unusual books, so that's kind of my little Bronte sister corner there. Then you come in here, these pillows. These are really fun ikat weave by one of my workshops there. So these are actually all woven, they're not printed, but look at how fun they are. I really look at this and I think kind of an artist's palette, where they swatch out different colors. But I look at these and I love them, and they're so comfy. I might make some other products with them too, but this is my little living room colorful area. Behind me here, I kind of have different pieces. This here is a very young artist. I think he must be in his 20s. His name is Demetrius, and he is just so talented with art. And I have another piece in the bedroom that's much larger, but I just like looking at it. I think that's how you should choose art. If you like it, you want to live with it, then you should go for it. So that's how I decided to purchase this piece. Back here, we've got a couple different things. Of course, a large scale TV that my partner loves for enjoyment. That was his idea, not my idea. This is also something I picked up in the flea market in Paris. It's just kind of a ice box. I probably need to polish it. But it's a fun ice box, and I just thought it was so fun. My mother and I picked it up together when I was on a trip with her. And we've got these. This I just found on like Facebook Marketplace. I had bought the lampshades. I think the lampshades they're from House of Hackney, and they're just very darling. But I was like, what type of base could I use that would match this kind of maximalist vibe? I was just on Marketplace one day and I saw one lady, she was selling these really fun seashell bases. So I said, okay, I sent my partner from his office to the Upper East Side to pick them up from this lady, and the deal was done. And same thing up here. We've got some more House of Hackney lampshades going on. And at the top, I put a medallion. I think these kind of like ceiling medallions are actually really easy to put in, and they kind of add a nice little flair to your home. You can, I think, get one on Amazon quite easily and affordably. Over here, I just planted this terrarium last week, but it's already become kind of unruly. I think I need a bigger glass case for it now. More of the Bronte sisters over here. And then this is our tower of books. When you come in from the outside in, people always ask me, how do you stack those books? Like, how are they not falling over? Well, the secret is it's actually just a design within reach bookcase. It has kind of on the side a really nice spine that you can just put books into. So I just like this. I wanted this bookcase for years, I think, before I pulled the trigger. I liked it for at least like 8 or 9 years. The price point was a little bit more than I wanted to pay, but eventually I just, stomached it. I brought it home. And then I just got a lot of plants. These plants have been with me for a long time. I think many, many years, and we all kind of started out small, and now they've become a little bit larger, like the evolution of time. And outside, you can start seeing parts of the garden. It's not quite in full bloom yet. If you come here in the summer, everything here on the outside is just, if you can imagine, just rows of tall flowers, rows of tomatoes, rows of eggplants. So it actually covers about half the window or more, and it's just a really beautiful thing to look out at, because then we have a lot of birds, we have a lot of bees, we have a lot of visitors that kind of come in. So sometimes I sit here in the evenings, just kind of look out to see like what bird is going to stop by today and say hi. And then this sofa is actually kind of funny. This is a sofa from, I think, the Italian brand Moroso. It originally came in white. Honestly, white sofas are so much upkeep. I think you either have to never sit on them, never have children, never have anyone come over, never drink wine. And so I just eventually decided that the white was too impractical for our life. And so we had it reupholstered locally here in Brooklyn, just really nice yellow velvet, which is easy to clean, easy to maintain, just perfect for where I am in my life right now. And these baskets are kind of fun. These baskets actually come from Ghana. This one's actually from Vietnam. But these ones here are made by a brand called Woven Worldwide, and they're a very fun basket made in Ghana, and they're beautiful. I love the cowrie shells on them. They're a great way for me to hide all the crap I have. So it's just a stylish way for me to kind of stuff all the extra blankets that I usually like to cuddle up with. I also think, the weather and lack of sun or the presence of sun really does affect your mood. So we wanted something with a lot of sun, especially because I loved growing indoor plants before this. I think I had even more indoor plants than this. I gifted a lot to people when I moved into this apartment. So I was looking for something with a lot of bright exposure, because I do think that's a nice pick-me-up for your mood every day. And things just kind of grow more in the sun, as we know, although they still have to get a lot of water. All right, so you get off the elevator, you come into my door, and then you have this long, nice, trailing hallway. We've got a lot of pictures there. I kind of see all the people who matter in my life, my parents, my in-laws, my brother, my partner, and I just like printing photos. I know it's perhaps a little bit archaic in the modern time. And then we go in a little bit more, and that's my office. That's where 99.9% of all the brainchild ideas happened. It's a little messy sometimes because I get a lot of samples of fabrics and swatches I always have to go through on a weekly basis. But that's kind of where the magic happens. How did I go about founding Inner Child? I feel like this is a story that kind of spans a lot of time and space. For the 10 years I worked in tech, I always felt like there was something missing from the creative side of my life. And during COVID, we were all at home, and it gave me the chance to kind of evaluate what is it that I really want to do? And if I were to start a business, which I've always wanted to do, what do I want that business to be like? And who do I want to work with? And when I travel, I always find myself bringing little trinkets back from different villages, different parts of the world. And people always ask me, where can I get that? How can I find something similar? And in my head, I'm just thinking, you can't, because some of these things just aren't available so easily. And I also think it's fabrics and design arts have always been a way to kind of tell the human story over time. You look at a piece of fabric, it's not just a piece of fabric when it's made by hand. There's been a lot of history to that. There's been a lot of passing down of a craft from generation to generation. Why do we use certain dyes? Where do those come from? Which plants, especially when you do natural dyes, right? So I always view, textile arts as kind of an underrated space. In my home, I'll show you shortly, we have a lot of cool tapestries. Some are embroidered, some are beaded. And I've got a whole closet full of fabrics I've collected for, I think, over 15 years. And so it was just kind of a natural transition. I wanted to do something that could take my skills in marketing, advertising, and then also my interest in kind of helping a lot of artisans commercialize and find a way to kind of make their craft, I think, contemporary, in terms of colors, in terms of designs, that would speak to a modern audience today, so that the craft could continue to have a long foundation for the future. So I think we're doing that right now, and I think a lot of the people we work with, we're very excited to have partnerships with them. Welcome to the Inner Child Studio. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, this is the cleanest my studio ever is, because you guys are coming here, I had to clean it up. But usually piles of fabric, piles of samples, but now, it's looking much better. So behind me here, we've got a couple different things. These are our candle holders. They're hand painted. They're so much fun. Let me see if I can bring one for you to see. It's almost tulip season. We just put candles on the inside here, and they look fabulous and quite whimsical. So I've only got a few of this left, but we make these with one of our partners in the Philippines, in addition to fabulous wall hooks. So these are Lily of the Valley, and they're so much fun. I think we sold out of these. We have a restock coming in July. And of course, I showcase some of the things that we've got coming. Pillows here. These are always a staple in my office. We have a lot of pillows downstairs in my storage unit. That's kind of where I store a lot of the backup samples for shows and whatnot. And these quilts, these are the quilts that I was talking about that are 16 plus hours to loom. They've got this great, fantastic puffy texture to them. So it looks like a little puff pillow. And each one has been really laboriously hand loomed, and they're kind of in fun colors. I believe in fun colors, as you can see here. I have one green and brown neutral for my more neutral customers. I try to be accommodating to all. But you can kind of see it's a sea of color in here. And here we got a lot of our fabric swatches. So, everything you can imagine. We've got placemats here, upcoming new designs, all of that. Our toiletry bags, which are hugely popular. How fun they are. I believe in practical but cute things. So those are some of our designs that are coming. And I also have a lot of cool trays. This is a tray that we made also out of recycled cotton. So you can kind of see here. Oh yeah, this is an olive serving set that I have as a sample. I have a lot of samples here. But these are fun because they've all been made out of that wonderful hand marbled recycled cotton production. And I use it to kind of store random things when I feel like you can never have enough storage in a home. So I always try to have fun storage solutions. We've got some of our baby collection launching. I'm doing some small baby collections now because I've had so many requests from my customers who are kind of in that stage of life or who are grandmothers and want to buy things for their grandchildren. So this is kind of fun, This is actually all organic cotton. These are dashins, which I'm obsessed with. And it's reversible. It's reversible, so it's kind of got a little bit of flair to it. And it is so darn cozy. So these have actually all been stitched by hand by a group of women. So we print the fabrics by hand. In case, by the way, you don't know what a block print is, let me show you. So usually a block is kind of carved just like this by hand. Because, the printing ecosystem, I think actually provides a lot of jobs to a lot of different types of people. You have folks who do the block making. You have folks who do the actual, once you put the dye on, the actual printing itself to kind of get a texture, just like this. And then you have folks who do the fabric curing, the washing, the stitching. So it's actually like a very big ecosystem that works together to put one product into motion. So I've got some samples over here. We're doing some new seashell and lobsters. These are just samples. These are not actually things that we're about to sell, but sometimes I have the workshops, just do some sampling for me so I can see, hey, how big are these things going to look? Which colors do we need to change them to? But yeah, we have a lot of fun stuff in this office. This is also another one of my productions here. This is actually my wedding invitation that I made. I just had them printed yesterday, but this is something that I wanted to send my guests something that they could keep as a stationary good. So these are kind of also another Grace production. This is Grace's work, in case you couldn't tell the similarities. But yeah, she put together this really fabulously cute design, and I hope that all my guests can kind of keep it as a keepsake after, to kind of put photos of themselves and their loved ones in. So yeah, this workshop here is, never ending place that I spend time in. I think my fiance wishes I spent less time here because I get a little obsessive with my work sometimes. So yeah, welcome to the Inner Child HQ, and hopefully one day I'll take you to, a much bigger office space where you can meet more people. This is kind of a cute flower lamp, but as you can see, I kind of do like pink. I have a lot of pink in this office, so I thought this was such a fun, whimsical touch. You might be wondering what this rod is behind me. Well, I used to have plants on it, and then sadly they all died because I was so busy I was kind of really on a marathon for about 8 or 9 months. I forgot to water them, so please excuse this empty rod. Normally before, we had a lot of wonderful vines coming down until recently. And of course, I have a lot of my, references in here. I have a lot of textile books, textile references, vintage textile samples that I kind of keep all in here to kind of have them archived. And yeah, this is kind of where the magic happens. And I'm very excited to kind of keep making products and showing you all what could happen in the future. Just like these cherries. These cherries are a new production that I'm having made. So you never know. Every given week, it's different in here because we always have new things coming in. After that, you walk out and you see my kind of L-shaped garden terrace, and I'm out there a lot in the summer. Every morning I kind of start my day early, and I go and water the plants before it gets really hot. Because by noon in New York City, living on like the rooftop unit, it's scorching. And so if I'm hot, the plants must be hot. So I spend quite a bit of time there in the morning just kind of looking to see what's happening, what new buds are there, what new vegetables have sprouted. I love spending time there. It's a little hot though. And my house is a greenhouse in the summertime. That's why I always say, like, we're a greenhouse, out there's, the real world. Then of course, adjacent to that, we have our living room, and behind it, our dining room. It's kind of an open floor concept a little bit. And I would love to say that I spend more time eating at my dining table, but I often find myself sometimes catching up on a favorite show in the evening at my not my dining table, but my TV room. And that's where we kind of catch up on whatever's happening in pop culture for about 30-40 minutes a day. And behind the dining room, we have my partner's office and our guest room. And that's where, if you're coming from out of town, you're always welcome to kind of pop by, say hi, put your suitcase there, put your feet up a little bit, and go explore the city. Welcome to the start of my dining room. Again, we have another Grace Sang production. I think my house is kind of a museum to her, as it should be. I think if you have friends, you're creatives, you should always support them. So I think she gifted me this one. And this is a portrait she did of me when we were, I think, just graduated university. I like to keep things, as you can't tell. Maybe I'm a mini hoarder, but I have a hard time letting go of sentimental things. So these have been with me for ages. This here's a scarf I framed. I have nowhere to put it, so it's on the ground. I have no more wall space. I'm a very honest person, so it's gonna live here in the interim until I free up some wall space. And in here we have my dining table, and this is actually an inner child tablecloth. I'm a huge fan of flowers, so these are our hydrangeas over here in blue. Also love growing flowers. I know it's not quite the season yet, but this is kind of our little fun living room. And we get here, and this is a fun picture. I always love talking about this picture because sometimes I find it really entertaining because I had a boyfriend a long time ago, before my fiance. And I remember going to a gallery with him in Chelsea, and I love this piece. I don't know where I saw it, but it was in a gallery in Chelsea. And at the time, I was like, oh, I really like this piece. Maybe I should get it for myself. And he said I would never live in a house with this art piece. And so, later, when we eventually broke up and I eventually moved to New York, I came back, I looked up at where this piece had moved, and I went to the gallery and I brought it home into my apartment at the time on the Upper West Side. So all this to say, if you like something, no one should ever prevent you in getting to where you want to get. So this is my little piece that reminds me of that every day. And more photos. Lots of photos. I went to Bates College. It's a liberal arts school. Lots of weddings that we went to here. These are fun. These are these little guinea hens that I picked up in the south of France. I think they're all made in a small studio over there. I think her name is Heidi Kayard. I hope I didn't butcher that. But they're kind of just fun little things. Honestly, sometimes I have a little grandma in my taste. I like a lot of random and eclectic things. And of course, this is actually one of my productions too. Also with our hydrangea pattern. This is actually a lacquerware tray done in Vietnam. Vietnam is a huge producer of lacquer, actually. Lacquer is probably not as popular in contemporary times, but I think it's timeless, it's beautiful. And it's also with our hydrangea print here. So as you can see, sometimes in an eclectic home, you have different types of chairs. Maybe my fiance's always telling me we should get a better set of chairs, but these chairs are from Indonesia. And these I just picked up from I think Design Within Reach, their Industry City outlet many years ago, because I needed 2 extra chairs. And these ones, the rattan ones had sold out, so I couldn't have a perfect set. I think in a home, you should be as comfortable as you are with whatever you need. And so I'll take you into the guest room and the office. Welcome to the guest room. We host a lot of our friends and family, and Akshay's office. So in here we've got, these are actually an inner child production too. Really, really lovely quilt. It's reversible. I like reversible things. I think they're so functional, and depending on your mood, you can kind of have a little bit of everything. These are also all hand stitched. They're really stunning and a light, very nice light material. Back here, a tapestry that I picked up in Mexico. I'd really liked this type of embroidery. It comes from, I think, Tenango de Doria. I apologize for butchering that, but I think the women there started doing a lot of embroidery after a drought to kind of make some income. And they first started doing a lot of dresses and clothing, but I think it proved more popular to actually do a lot of tapestries. And I like large scale things, in case you couldn't tell. I like big pieces, things that make, take up a room and have that strong presence. And so I got this one, and I think it's such a burst of color, from phoenix and peacocks to all different types of animals on here. So this is one of my favorite pieces in the house, and I bought those at some point intending to turn. I had a big glass period. This was during COVID. I think I had, like everyone else, too much time on their hands during COVID. And so I went into this big stage where I was really interested in something called Empoli glass. It's like a particular type of Italian glass. I bought these with the intention of turning them into lamps. And I think I still will. I'm going to wire these. You see they have an open base there. So I'm actually going to put like a little lamp construction up here. I plan to turn these into lamps when I have time. There's a lot of DIY projects on my back burner. I just don't have time because with my business these days and also getting married, I'm very short on time. But within 2025, I think that project can be accomplished. Where do I find inspiration for design from? Honestly, I'm that person who sometimes goes through like endless loops in books, in magazines, on Pinterest, on the internet. I just love looking at things wherever I go. When I travel, when I leave my home, I like going to physical spaces and seeing like what's here. I would say my parents had a big influence on teaching me that curiosity and interest. But yeah, I'm not particular about like how highbrow something is or how fancy something has to be. I often buy direct from the people who are actually making things, or I actually collect a lot of random vintage things that are not really in production today. I don't know, inspiration kind of just strikes wherever, but I think books are a huge part. I was such a nerd growing up and probably still am. And I loved reading, history books. I love looking through old references of, patches of design, wallpaper. Actually, everything behind here is just books. This whole wall is actually books. I don't want to open it for you because you're going to be like, wow, this lady has too many books in her house. Because I actually have more books in the rest of the house too. But that's the one thing. If I were to have more time right now outside of the business, I would love to just sit down and just pour through novels. Soon, coming soon. I think after my wedding, I'll have some time on a honeymoon to read like dozens of books. So this is the other side of the bedroom. Let me just mosey over here. I am one of those people who sometimes are in the depths of eBay looking for random things. You wonder who those people are. They are me. And so these are a lot of things that I found via different buyers on eBay. I think there's so much fun. I mean, look at something like this. They don't make stuff like this anymore. So I kind of got obsessed with a while, but I had to place a little ban on myself because where else am I going to keep more glass? I don't really believe in just getting things and storing them. I think they should be used. So I often use these as, vases, design. This is also from actually one of the alums of my college, Bates. His name is Deshaun Peoples. He makes some really cool ceramics. I saw this piece when he was about to graduate from either his master's degree and his MFA. And I told him, ship this to me. So that's from someone who I think is super talented. And then we just got a lot of things. I think I picked this up in Oaxaca recently. I was like, hey, these are kind of fun. But I don't know, this is kind of space age. I don't know, it gives me space age vibes. And I have some candle perfumes in there apparently. Yeah, there's just a fun assortment of things that I've just kind of accumulated over time. But this is the nice background that my partner gets to have for all his calls. So as you can see here, this is also another recycled cotton frame. Actually, this is by one of my favorite textile designers, Brigitte Singh. I think she's very talented. She's, I think, retiring, so she's not making things anymore. But this is in Florida, we had a small little engagement shoot. So you can see the whole family there. This is Ankit. He's single. If any ladies are looking, he's a very eligible bachelor. It's my future brother-in-law, so don't edit this part out. But he's a very talented man in tech. So, but yeah, this is kind of a cool frame, and I love capturing moments in time to look at because they're a lot more fleeting than we realize. Time goes by so quickly. And so, we had a lot of requests for pillows because not everyone needs a quilt, but folks like having pillows. So these are our Sujani pillows. They're so much fun. They're honestly so cozy. And when you lean against them, there's an extra cushion because there's, cotton stuffed in each layer of them. So this is kind of my fun addition to our living room. And this here is a fun story. My brother and I took a trip together many years ago to Paris. And I'm a big fan of scouring flea markets because you never know what you're going to get. And I saw this in the front of an antique shop in the market. And I told my brother, do you think I should get this? And my brother's not someone who spends, he's a very careful person. And so he told me I should get it. And I was really shocked because my brother never says buy something. He's usually like, I don't know, pass on that. You don't need that. But he said, I think you should get this. So we took it out of the frame that it was in. It was in a tortoiseshell frame at the time, but shipping everything in frame is quite a cost. And so I just took it out as a canvas, I wrapped it up neatly, I brought it back here, and I cleaned it with this sort of sponge. There's kind of a sponge that you can get. People usually actually use it for fire damage, but you can just put it on without any water, just kind of dry, and it takes a lot of the decay of the years away, I would say. I was kind of shocked. The sponge started, as white, and then it eventually became very brown, and I was like, oh, I didn't know there was, I don't know how much cigarette smoke or whatever this thing had been exposed to, or just kind of the elements of time, but I liked it because I love, it looks like it's been embroidered. There's a really cool zebra motif going on, and I've tried to find out if there were others of these, just by like Google reverse searching. I've never found it. So it's kind of our unique original piece, and it has a fun story because it has a nice memory of my brother and I just walking all around Paris, 25,000 steps together every single day. And behind kind of all of this, if we go back into the dining room, you'll see the kitchen. I wish I could say that I spent more time in the kitchen, but I, like probably many New Yorkers are guilty of, am a huge frequenter of takeout. I used to cook a lot during COVID, but I do find that it's quite difficult when you're just starting a business to also cook all your meals. I'm working on it though. Coming soon, I'll be back on working on some new recipes, especially come summer when I get a lot of fresh produce. We do cook a little bit more, just because I can harvest like tomatoes, rosemary, herbs, eggplants, and so we do a lot of cooking when it's like fresh produce season. This is a real lived-in house, and so sometimes, even though I've moved to a warehouse today for my fulfillment, I still have the occasional package or sample that I need to ship out. So this is my, I think, $20 IKEA cart that I find really useful. Honestly, this stuff is great. If you need to go to like a trade show or something, like, it's really easy to use and very practical. I have one in yellow, but I put it in my storage room downstairs. But yeah, this, I've got everything in here. I've got our branded ribbon. I think I have our branded tape, This is real life. We really do live here, truly. So I feel like you shouldn't hide too much. This is how we live. This is the business. This is also my home. But if you come in here a little bit, I'll take you on a little tour of the kitchen. I've got some samples here. My baguette servers, I think they're so much fun. I don't know if anyone's gonna buy them, I hope so, but I've been sampling these for a few months. I think Vietnamese people, we eat a lot of banh mi, and so baguettes have always kind of been prevalent in my life. This croissant dish, I think I bought in some small town in Cassis in France. Also, another Grace Zhang. I think it seems like I have one artist in my life, and I really do love her so much. So she made this really fun picture of folks eating like dumplings and baos, and I just think it's so much fun just kind of look at this picture here. And I have this really funky, let me just see how I can turn it on, croissant lamp. We like our carbs in this house. I think I've given up on the wedding diet too much. I don't cook, but we do enjoy teas. So sometimes we do make this like Vietnamese tea drink. We have like jujubes, we have chrysanthemums, goji berries, long an. Of course, everyone Vietnamese, rock sugar for a lot of sweet soups and whatnot. So this is something I do. Please ignore the glass. That is, the glass there is because the architect of this building made a mistake on all the units' kitchens where they put the burner a little bit too close to the glass. So there's nothing you can do about it unless you just get a brand new stove. So most people just kind of accept that it's a fact of life. And this is my space alien lamp. That's why I like to call it space age. I'm short, so it's fine. But all my friends who are not 5'2", they gotta watch their heads in the kitchen because many people will have accidentally bumped their forehead on it. My parents are like, why would you have such a low hanging lamp? I was just like, I don't know. I like it. I'm 5'2". I live in here every day. It doesn't bother me. So anyways, that's in short the kitchen. What are the challenges of running a small business? We have fire drills every single day. At the beginning, when I first started this company, I ran everything out of my apartment. And so it's only about 2 weeks ago that I finally got a warehouse. I think we shipped thousands of boxes right from here. So, my mother and my father came, my brother came, My fiance, I think, didn't have a house for about 6 months because it was just a mountain and a sea of boxes, inventory. And also try to have empathy for the fact that, a lot of this work is done by hand. And as such, you cannot really rush some processes, even though I think American consumers are really used to kind of that Amazon 2-day delivery. We can't possibly do that just because that's just not how our goods are made. Some of our items are made to order. Some of our things have a longer lead time just because they sell through so quickly. And so we need to kind of replenish that supply. But the supply cannot get done in a week. It takes a couple of weeks to kind of print, block print or print our papers, or to do some of our metalworking. But I also think, in your personal life, you just don't have as much time to kind of socialize or spend with your loved ones at the very beginning. And that is a huge sacrifice. I think a lot of founders sometimes don't talk about is you really get stuck in your work. But I love the work we do, and I really find it rewarding because I really do feel like when we make these investments in our workshops and the communities, it is actually meaningful income for them because we pay fair wages. We are, I think, very equitable. We actually even prepay a lot of salaries for our artisans so that they have consistent work. My house is kind of a walking showroom of a lot of those items. Then we go straight down another hallway. To the right is my laundry room. I'm not going to show you that because it's a little bit of a hot mess right now, but there's a cool laundry room there, kind of a pantry space that we use. And then we head into my bedroom. That's, I guess, where all the rest and relaxation happens. And it's probably, I think, one of the more minimalist rooms in this home, although we have quite a bit of color in there still. And to the right, when you get into the bedroom, is the bathroom. And then afterwards, that's my little closet in New York City. I personally think I'm running out of space in that closet now, so I do need a little bit of expansion soon or downsizing the closet a bit, but I also love shopping, which is why I think I also opened my own brand. I just love curating things. I love finding things. And so a lot of the stuff you'll see in the closet is just things I've collected throughout the years. And oftentimes, I end up doing a lot of parties where I invite a lot of interns in the city to kind of come and take some things from the closet because it's getting a little bit too big now. So that's my home. And you'll see the garden all throughout in each room that has a window. Welcome to the bedroom. This is where all the dreams kind of happen overnight. Back here, can't help but notice a showstopper. Again, this is also the artist Demetrius Wilson. Again, I think I have an obsession with large scale things. I just think it has so much presence when pieces are massive. So I like this piece. I think it's, I don't know, I love seeing it every morning and every night. It's quite the statement. So Mr. Demetrius Wilson, look him up. He's a young man, I think he's gonna do really great things. And over here, all right, we've got the seashell mirror. So during COVID, I actually made this mirror. And it was kind of a project of mine. You got to keep yourself busy and with hobbies. A lot of these shells actually came from someone who was once in the US Navy. And when he passed away, he had a huge shell collection. And his granddaughter in Rhode Island happened to just be clearing out his storage and shed. She put them on Facebook Marketplace, and I became the great person who benefited from his beautiful collection. I think he was stationed in the Philippines, a lot of different places. But yeah, I put this all together, and it's kind of my little fun seashell world. I love the ocean. I love the beach. In New York, it's not quite as close in the city to any, bodies of water that I can really swim in. So this is kind of my burst of summer, all year round. It was kind of fun. I think it took me about 2 weeks to make. I put a little bit of time every day, a couple hours every day to kind of put everything on, try to make it symmetrical. And over here, we have more books once again. And this is kind of a fun light. I actually bought this from a Thai restaurant owner in upstate New York. Her and her husband brought it down. Her mom had brought it in from Thailand to put into their restaurant. And I guess they never did it because it was collecting dust for 2 decades. And I saw it and I was like, you know what? Bring it down to Manhattan and I'll give it a home. So just, another summer vibes. In case you can't tell, I do really love ocean tropical vibes. And we just got a lot of stuff here. These are from Oaxaca. They're great beeswax candles. There's a family there that makes, they smell so nice, just like honey. They're really hefty too. So they make great candles there, and I have a lot of candles from them. Got all sorts of things, picture frames. My brother put that puzzle together of a lot of fantastic books. These pictures of the swimmers there, it's an artist called Virginia Morgand. She has a lot of cool illustrations. I think she did a lot of illustrations for brands in France. I just like her work. I like swimming. I like the water. So as you can see, there's a theme in this room. Unintentional, not planned. Yeah, we've got a lot of great photographs in here, books, all sorts of things. This chest here is just a fun storage chest. I use it to kind of store random jewelry, random things in here. It's just a fun thing I think I picked up on the Upper West Side at the Grand Bazaar. If you haven't been to Grand Bazaar, I actually highly recommend it. I think it happens either on Saturdays or Sundays. Don't quote me on this. One of the two dates. And it happens, I think, on a weekly basis. And you have vendors from all around the city, maybe even surrounding states, come by, and they sell a lot of really cool curated vintage wares. And if you see my golden mirrors in the hallway and the entryway coming in here, those are actually all from the fair. I actually lugged those myself back to my then Upper West Side apartment. They're fun. So you never know what you're gonna find there. It's kind of thrill of the hunt, And if we head here into the bedroom, this carpet was made in Quebec. There was some island that my parents went to, or maybe some small town in Quebec, and they saw this and they're like, Michelle, we think you will like this. It's like been handmade by some ladies there. And I was like, great, bring it over. So they gifted me this after one of their road trips. My parents tend to go on road trips for about a couple months every summer, just kind of touring national parks. So this is one of their gifts to me. We've got more of the rattan kind of look with the lamps here, all sorts of things. I try to keep it simple and fun. Oh, I've got a wastebasket here. This wastebasket is actually an inner child production. Look at how fun this is. Okay, I'm gonna take this out. Lies flat for storage. Great for New York City apartments. And then it just opens up to kind of store things. So very convenient, very easy to use. And it matches my curtains. That's a nice thing of having a little studio, is you can do all sorts of production, to meet your heart's desire. So this here's kind of the bed. I always had a huge love for 4-poster beds. I don't know why. Perhaps it's like a nostalgic thing from the 90s. I don't know. But yeah, this is, where the pillowcases are kind of loomed in Sri Lanka by a brand called Barefoot. And they're super vivid and lovely. I collect a lot of shams from them when I was there. These, we're also starting to work on a bedding collection at Inner Child as well. We're just testing out a lot of things right now in the universe. And so yeah, this is the bedroom. And in the summertime, I grow a lot of dahlias and hydrangeas out here. So every morning we wake up and it's full of blooms. So welcome to our bedroom. Up here, mostly, actually, my parents bought this for me very recently. It's kind of cool. They got it because it had the hand marbled paper on the inside, and I'm doing a lot of marbling products. And it has the seashells on the outside. They're very thoughtful, actually. They said it is a very old piece it says made in England. They said it's from the 1920s. The shop owner told them it was a great deal. Being Asians, they haggled the price a little bit, and they brought it home over the holidays for me. So yeah, we've got a lot of seashell stuff. I'm planning to do a lot more stuff in this room. This room has not really been, I haven't had any time to design my home these past couple of months. So it's just kind of as is right now, but I have a lot of plans. I'm gonna put a little canopy over the bed. I have all the hardware for it. I just need to kind of install it and put the fabric in. I think we're also going to maybe wallpaper or paint some parts of this too. So maybe you'll just come back for a new tour in a couple of years and we'll have a whole new vibe. Every gal, I think, who grew up during the time I did, had a huge Sex in the City moment. So I always wanted to have a walk-in closet, and so my partner generously gave me the closet in this room. And so I actually have never taken anyone into my closet before. So come in, we'll take a look in here. So this is a closet over here. It's a little messy. Like I said, I've been working so much and I maintain everything, so I haven't had time to kind of organize everything. This is kind of where I kind of choose the outfits of the day. We've got a lot of fun things. Let me see what I have back here. I have this fabulous gown that is so neat. Let me see if I can pull it up. This is like an old Zach Posen piece. I think he's now the creative director at Gap, but it is so much fun. I like collecting a lot of textile anything, so including dresses, gowns, all sorts of things. But this here is one of my personal favorites. And so, you know, I like collecting all sorts of textile pieces. Doesn't matter what format they're in. They can be fashion, they can be, you know, tapestries, they can be just swatches of fabric itself. But yeah, we've got a lot of things in here. I used to work in tech, and so, you know, in a sales role, and I used to dress up a lot more. So I have quite a lot of shoes. I don't really think they see as much time of day anymore. I think these Manolos were one of the first shoes I ever bought that were heels. I actually wore them to my interview at Google. I don't know where I got them from. This was like 15, 14 years ago. It was a long time. So yeah, they're nostalgic. I rarely wear heels, to be honest. I'm mostly in Birkenstocks and running shoes 24/7, or slippers in my home. But I still have an appreciation for excellent craftsmanship and beautiful things. I have a lot of dresses. Honestly, I think my ideal closet would be like 5X a size. I'm a little limited right now. So, and I love dresses. I especially love wearing long dresses. It's easy because you just have one thing you got to throw over and it's done. So this is kind of my long dress section here. It's quite small. Like, you know, it's a lot of stuff stuffed into a small area. We got some bags, accessories, all sorts of things. This is kind of just, you know, where I spend a lot of time. Ooh, I got this dress recently. I don't know if you want to see. I got this dress recently. I think it's so cute. Let me see. I'm so short. So this ladder exists because I'm so short. This is clearly built for someone much taller than me. I like embroidery on clothing, applique work, like any type of interesting work I love seeing on a dress. This is like an Oscar de la Renta that I saw a while back. And I was like, this is fun. I love it. I think I picked up the last one in the country. They told me this is the last one. You either take it or you don't. And I called her back the next day and said, sure, I'll take it. And I love the lily of the valley here. But I really enjoy it when people do, you know, beadwork or applique work on dresses. And I wish more people did that because it's just makes the piece, you know, into kind of like an art piece in some ways. I also like Missoni a lot. I actually buy things from everywhere. I collect things over the years. This has been like 10 to 15 years of collecting things. I tend to just give things away to like my nieces, friends, interns sometimes. So, you know, your body changes as you get older. I'm not as skinny as I used to be. But yeah, I love all sorts of things. This is kind of my messy closet. I apologize for the mess, but every morning I spend like 5 minutes here. I pick something off the rack and then I get to work every day. Probably in the future when we get an office, I'll probably have to spend some more time, you know, doing makeup and hair. But usually every morning I'm pretty relaxed. I kind of wear just a comfortable set of pants and a t-shirt, and I'm at the computer just typing away and talking to all my artisans in my warehouse, etc. This is a Marni piece. I just liked it because it was so colorful. It kind of reminded me of Yayoi Kusuma, you know, the artist who does all those fun polka dots and all sorts of pieces. So it was just a dress form of what I viewed as her artwork. So it's just a fun piece that I have in my closet and one of the many long dresses that I've collected over time. So if you haven't noticed, the color blue is very prevalent in this room. And I think it's because blue, even my artwork here has elements of blue as well. I do think blue is a calming color and it helps you kind of relax. And that's kind of the environment that I wanted to create for the place that I have to kind of rest every night as much as I can. Although I get very distracted by work at nighttime because that's when all my artisans are awake. So right after I finish my work, I really want to feel relaxed. So welcome to the bathroom. It's kind of a Moroccan blue. This is a lime wash paint. I did a lot of lime wash paint in this house, in the living room, in the hallway coming in here. It was just so easy to work with, and I love the vibrancy of the colors. It's also less toxic, so I think it's easier to kind of apply, use, etc. But it's blue. So we've got a really nice blue bathroom in here. Again, I have more of these waste baskets. That's where I keep the toilet paper. It looks kind of fun and funky. It's a cute way of keeping storage of things. Yeah, this here is actually a peel and stick tile on the bottom. I really didn't like the cold tile and I wanted something kind of warmer. So I chose this blue peel and stick tile from Amazon. I think I spent like an afternoon on a weekend putting it together. And it's really comfortable. Your feet are a little bit warmer because it's not exactly on tile. Again, you see Virginie Morgand, that artist who did the swimmers on the outside. This is her work once again. I think she's super talented. And this wonderful bathtub. I have to be honest, I wish I took more baths here. I'm working a little bit too much to kind of enjoy that rest and relaxation, bubbles and sitting back of a book time, but I aspire to get there in the near future. So yeah, this is kind of the bathroom where, you know, we get ready in the morning, and it's a little blue sanctuary when you're in here. And I think having some color in the home really does change the feeling and the mood of the space that you're in. I think humans in nature, when we lived outside more, I guess, we used to have a lot more color in our environment. So white is a default, but it doesn't need to be, you know, you can paint that canvas. Welcome to my home. This is my entryway. So one of my girlfriends, her name is Grace Zhang. She's an amazing artist and illustrator. She does a lot of children's books. She stayed at my place once while I was out of town, and look at this amazing mural she drew for me. I just had an idea. I was like, hey, Grace, just leave something on my door. This is what she came up with. So it's quite adorable. And I love photographs, as I mentioned. So a lot of these are actually produced by Inner Child. They're made out of recycled cotton. So at the end of the textile production that I was referring to, these are all recycled cotton. And they've been hand marbled, actually. So these are hand marbled, and these ones have been block printed. And they're so fun. I find, you know, frames can be a little bit old school sometimes. These are kind of a contemporary spin on the photo frames. And then we head into one of my favorite pieces. I saw this actually on another home tour many years ago at an interior designer's house. And I had asked in the comments, where can I get one? And I think the social media person said, there's only one in the world. I am not one who believes that there can only be one in the world. There's always can be something made, or there must have been another one made at some point. So I scoured the internet, I think for about 2 years, and I finally found this piece at auction in Japan, and it was sent over to me here. But it's actually a really cool piece. This is it's actually an Hermes blanket. This is the Savannah dance pattern, and I really like it because of the beading. So if you put some lighting in, you can see the amazing beadwork. Do you see that? That sparkle and glisten. I really should get a light for this, but it's it's stunning. I think this work is outstanding and just completely divine and lovely. But I also had the question appear in my mind, which is, okay, you know, we know a lot of luxury houses like Chanel, like Hermes, etc., Dior. They use a lot of wonderful artisans from all around the world, and especially in India. And I had a question to myself, which is, you know, this is being priced a certain way, but I wonder how much of this is actually going towards the artisan. And that kind of also led me to the journey that I am on today, because you just look at pricing economics and you wonder, hey, you know, what is the distribution that's happening behind the scenes? And I think something like this is extraordinary work, and I probably will have this piece for some time in my life. On the left here, these are bags that we make in Vietnam. So these are actually all made in a small village. It's actually made by a group of women, and they're actually all recycled plastic. So Vietnam, I think, does a lot of recycled plastic materials, and we just kind of weave them. They do it as kind of like a secondary income. I name them our Saigon Birkins. They're fun, easy, flexible. They're waterproof because they're made out of plastic, and you just don't need to worry too much when you take them out on the town. And then here we get to kind of our wall of photos of, you know, my family and my partner's family. And I thought it was important to have something like this just because I think in my parents' home, we had so many great stories of, our grandparents, our relatives, their lives prior. But, I didn't really get to see all those characters on a regular basis. And I think it's nice to kind of walk by every day and see everyone. So like my dad was a soldier during the Vietnam War. So this was him in 1972. So my grandfather here, he was a medic during the war. And that's my mom right here she must have been very young during that time, a couple years old. And, we have my in-laws over here at his graduation from his MBA at Columbia. Mom looking quite fine. She's looking very glamorous, like a Bollywood diva there. And my mom is here. My mom spent some time in the refugee camp in the Philippines in the 1990. You see all that wire, they weren't allowed to leave from there. So there's a lot of stories I think each picture holds. Even here, not everyone is here with us. One of my dad's brothers, escaped by boat, and then he was just never found again. He went missing in action on that journey. So there's just a lot of people who I like seeing this, and I want this wall to kind of actually add, a little bit more photos. I don't know where this space is going to be. Maybe we'll go all the way to the top, all the way to the side, some smaller frames, but I really love having a piece of our families here with us. This was kind of a funny thing. I had another fellow Vietnamese creative send, I think he posted an article where someone had said it's very rude to ask people to take off their shoes when you enter their home. And I was like, oh no. If you grew up, I think, in an Asian household, actually a lot of households have this policy too. We usually don't wear our shoes in the house, and it's mostly, I think, a hygienic thing. We have slippers for you though. If you come in, I've got a lot of slippers collected, a lot of different sizes. You can come in, but I wrote a letter to the editor just kind of randomly on one fine day, and then they chose it to publish, and I was kind of surprised. So this is my little contribution to the Times. The article is called How to Party Without Regrets. And I said, I think if I were to follow most of the advice in this article, I might leave a party with regrets. And so sometimes I think there is a lack of representation in people, getting quoted for articles. So it's my little rebellion to the world, And so I'll take you into the bathroom here. So this is the guest bathroom. Actually, if you come all the way in here, you'll see some fun wallpaper we put up. These bathing beauties here. People always have fun when they look at this wallpaper. They're like, oh, I took a shower and there are all these nice ladies looking at me. And you actually see my friend Grace's work here too. Grace was the one who drew the mural on my door. She also did this here, which I found so charming because it's, a couple in the bathroom together, and she's so talented. You really should look up her work. She's fantastic. She also did this one here too. I think she randomly gave this to me a couple years ago. It's just a young girl looking up in the meadows, and it's really quite lovely. And of course, you just have the basic shower curtain from, I think this is from Quiet Town. It's just kind of fun pink. And it's a pretty simple bathroom. And we have, this is from Vietnam. This is from Vietnam here. And I just was like, oh, this is kind of unique and fun to look at. I've got a lot of lemons, soaps for you. We got a lot of things in this house that I just collect and people kind of just come in to use. But yeah, this is our guest bathroom. What does home mean to you? For me, I've moved a lot of places in my life. I've lived in a lot of different homes. I've lived in different countries. Home to me now is a little bit different than what home might have been for me 10 years ago. The concept of a steady home where you can come back to a singular place day after day and have it remain as is very much, I think, a privilege. And I, hold that thought very dear, and I'm very aware of that. But beyond just the physical space, I think home is also a representation of the individual who lives in that home, the people who come through that home, who you share your home with. It's a really helpful way for me to kind of understand, like, oh, who is this person? What do they care about? No matter what that looks like for everyone, I think it's, a great privilege to have a home and to build it as you like, especially for me right now in my 30s, as I'm, trying to figure out what type of vibe do I want to have when you come? What type of things do I want to create in my home so that you have a great experience when you come. It's been great having you here, Homeworthy, but I gotta get back to work. You know how it is. Thanks so much for coming, and I'll see you soon again.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.